Hello, I'm Chris Williams from Read Comics, They're Bad For You. Or if you're watching this on BitChute, Comic Freak. Today we're going to be talking about the rumors and the rampant speculation about J.J. Abrams directing a Superman or a Green Lantern movie. You heard it, folks. The guy is now going after DC after he's finished draining the life out of Star Trek and Star Wars. The man who can't finish anything is about to dive headfirst into DC. Because apparently the heads of the DCEU will use any and all opportunities to make their brand even less profitable. Yes, J.J. Abrams has made movies that have made money, but mostly they're basically just shined up pieces of, old junk with a couple of lens flares patched on to make people go and see them. But that is quickly wearing off. This all has to do with, or at least partially to do with, the Time's Up movement, which is currently being headed by J.J. Abrams' wife, Katie McGrath. And through this Me Too movement, they were able to, dethrone and, get rid of the former chair and head of Warner Brothers Studios. And in his stead, they've been able to install their good friend, Ann Sarnoff. Now, if you didn't know better, or if I didn't know better, I would say this is almost looks like collusion. That they were planning to do this so they could install Ann Sarnoff. And then, J.J. Abrams and his wife could probably have an ear in the studio who would listen to all their plans and all their proposals for movies. Hell, I'm surprised he didn't install himself as head of Warner Brothers Studios so that he could himself have all the power. But this might as well be him being the CEO, because with Ann Sarnoff there, he himself might as well be the CEO, because she's going to listen to him and his wife Katie, and she probably will, make it easier for him to make movies in the future for Warner Brothers, including possibly destroying Superman and Green Lantern with his stupid feature films. The same feature films that destroyed Star Trek and Star Wars, though others do have said that The Force Awakens is at least a good movie. In my opinion, no, I didn't enjoy that movie, but I have to agree, even though I've never seen The Last Jedi, from all the bad press it has gotten and all the bad-mouthing it has gotten, The Force Awakens must at least be better than The Last Jedi. But then again, subject yourselves to it. I refuse to see that movie because I didn't enjoy The Force Awakens. Now, with him basically, from behind the scenes running Warner Brothers in some respects, or at least having all his cohorts or friends running the key positions, he's basically married himself to Warner Brothers. Oh, and don't forget his company, Bad Robot, are now in control, or rather Warner Brothers is now in control of them, with them buying him out. Or at the very least, they might as well be, the Warner Brothers and Bad Robot might as well be the same company now. Which means that Warner Brothers now has, a lead-in to one of the most profitable movie-making companies in the business. What with Bad Robot being responsible for Cloverfield, the Star Trek reboots, and other profitable movies, even if they're, the caliber and watchability of them is, varying with each film. As well as the other staff members of Bad Robots, like J.J. Abrams' friend Matt Reeves, the director of the Batman films. Now, that brings to the table considerable clout. And yes, some of those movies are good. The Dark Knight is a good movie. But then again, a lot of people have been copying it over the last few years, and that is responsible for the current DCEU, movie flops that have been hampering the studio ever so often. Every time they have a hit, they more often have a flop. For every Wonder Woman and Aquaman, there's a Shazam or a Batman versus Superman. And this also goes back to the fact that Disney now owns all of Marvel's properties, or at least most of them, including the X-Men and Fantastic Four, along with the Avengers now. And with Disney owning Star Wars, as well as the other franchises that Disney owns that Fox once owned, it means that with Bad Robot now working for Warner Brothers, these two companies now basically head up. Basically, I'd say most of all the upcoming properties that will be produced or directed in the future. That means most of these franchises and movies that Bad Robots is now going to do will also, on the opposite end, with Disney having the Marvel properties and Star Wars properties basically being all controlled by two companies, which means most of those films will be genre films, and that's a good thing for genre lovers. But what about everybody who just doesn't want Hollywood just to keep doing reboots and sequels? What with Bad Robot, just when they do make a movie, they basically screw around with it. And if it's not anything that's original, they tend to screw it up. I mean, movies like Cloverfield or Cloverfield, Lane. Those movies were original projects. They didn't have anything going before them. Well, Cloverfield was the first movie, and then Cloverfield Lane was the second. But they were original properties and with totally unrelated stories, what with Cloverfield being an anthology series, so each movie is unique, even though they at some points connect to each other. But now with Bad Robot being signed up with Warner Brothers and being an exclusive property of Warner Brothers, or at the very least not being able to make any movies for any other company, and what with Disney gobbling up everything else, Hollywood might as well get rid of any other studios that still exist after Disney ate Fox. Because there's what was once 6 great big movie companies in Hollywood has now become 5. But now with Bad Robot being controlled, it might as well just be 2 studios. Because anyone else going up against them will probably, hopefully, make something good, but most likely they'll be overwrought and plowed under by all the hype that Disney and Warner Brothers can bring to the table. Thus, we will continue, or rather, the downward spiral of Hollywood, what with this being one of the worst years, what with movie attendance being so far down, will continue to happen. Because these companies will continue to try and rehash old scripts, old franchises to try and get people to come back to the theater, even destroying those beloved franchises. Well, this is just my opinion, and these are all just rumors. Nothing has been concrete, and all the speculation on what will happen with Warner Brothers and Bad Robot is still yet to happen. Now, if you like this video, subscribe. Make sure you're still subscribed. If you're watching my videos but you have not subscribed, please subscribe to me. I want you to hit that bell for notifications. Subscribe to me at YouTube, Read Comics They're Bad For You, or at BitChute, at Comic Freak. Hit that like button and leave some comments down below. And keep checking back in future videos for more information on my own upcoming independent comic book, Scumdogs. I'm Chris Williams, and I'll be back again tomorrow with another video or review.